Hey you guys, Mrs. Wagner here. Can you see me? All right. So what I've got here is lesson 11, and this is freezing lauric acid. So what you see in front of the camera here is a test tube of lauric acid. So lauric acid is just an ingredient used in coconut oil. And if you've ever cooked with coconut oil, you know that at room temperature, coconut oil is a solid. So I have actually brought the temperature up of this lauric acid and have turned it into a liquid, as you can see. I have a temperature probe there, and that's going to record data on our Chromebook here, and I'll show you the data kind of at the end. I may be pausing the video because it's going to take some time for it to freeze, because we're going to be freezing this lauric acid, and that's going to take just a little bit of time. So I might be pausing the video, but I'll still keep collecting the data. We're going to collect the data for 900 seconds. You have a data chart in your interactive notebook. So when the data is completed and collected, then I will share that data with you, and you could put that into your interactive notebook. And then you and your teacher will be discussing what the data actually means, okay? And probably looking at a graph related to that data. So here we go. I'm going to start collecting the data. And then just to let you know before I start that, I do have a little beaker of cooler water here, and I've got a thermometer in there, and the temperature of this water it's just about 7 degrees, so it's just above freezing. The freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius, and this is about 7 degrees Celsius, so it's above freezing. It's cold. I can feel it's cold. You can see the condensation on the outside. The room is pretty warm, actually. All right, so I'm going to start collecting this data, and I'm going to get it ready and positioned to go into the cooler water, okay? Oh, and we need to try this again. Let's see, doesn't want to be nice. All right, come on, little vernier. Let's start collecting. Well, it's green, so we should have a start temperature. Oop. I'm going to pause the video and see if I can get this to work, and then we'll start up again. All right, we got it to go. So the beginning temperature is 31.4. So that's above room temperature. And we are now slipping it into the cold water. Okay, and I'm gonna leave the video on for just a little bit. We have the collection going at every 30 seconds. So it's gonna record the temperature of this lauric acid for every 30 seconds for 900 seconds. Okay, and like I said, we'll get the data for your data chart once we're done. I can tell you after 30 seconds, it has dropped down to 29.4 seconds. So we're just halfway into a minute, and we have dropped down a little bit. I'm going to try to get some of that water off there. All right, let's see, about a minute. Yep, 25.2 degrees Celsius at 60 seconds. So we've dropped down a little bit more. So, how's it going? How's your year going? How do you like the virtual learning? You have some awesome science teachers. That's all I got to say. They are amazing, the best people to work with. So, whoever you have, whatever science teacher you have is phenomenal. And I couldn't ask for a better team to work with. All right, 90 seconds, 22.8. I work at North Middle School. So for those of you who are wondering, who is this Mrs. Wagner? I teach 6th and 7th grade at North Middle School. I do, however, have ties to all 3 middle schools. I went to Portage Central Middle School a long time ago, and I had I have a daughter who went to West Middle School, had Mrs. McDaniel, had Mr. Gaylor, and Mr. Van Hoven. I think for science, all three of those teachers. Mrs. McDaniel might have been math, but I think she had Mrs. McDaniel for 2 years, math and science. So Mrs. McDaniel, you'll have to let me know and remind me if she was with you twice. I can't remember. All right, we are now up to 150 seconds. That is 19.5 degrees Celsius. Do we see anything going on here? Well, I can see it. I actually see some cloudiness. I'm going to lift it up a little bit. I can see some cloudy. Well, I don't want to do that because I'm going to skew the results. But can you guys see that that's a little bit cloudier, which means it's starting to freeze, okay? Really not sure what that means. So like freezing, what does that mean to you? When you think about something that's freezing, how do you describe that? So something to talk about with your teachers. Maybe start thinking about what's happening to the particles. So what happens to particles when it's freezing? When a substance is freezing, what is happening to those particles? Okay, what's happening to particles when things melt? All things to think about when we do this lab. So I'm going to put it on pause and we're going to let it go. And when we get back to 900 seconds, which is just really a few minutes from now, I'll start the video again and I'll show you the changes. So we'll see you in a few. Okay, you guys, so we have collected the data for 900 seconds. That's 15 minutes. And just to show you what it looks like now, as you can see, it has solidified. It's a little bit liquidy at the top, but for the most part, I can kind of get my temperature probe out there. The final temperature, you can see it's got the solid, but I'm going to show you just by dumping in. You can kind of see it's sludgy, but it's pretty solid there. It's not dumping. And the end temperature is 20.7. I am sharing this data with your teacher. So you'll get this data chart from your teacher. So that's it, freezing lauric acid.